Our next guest is the new boys basketball coach at Abbotsford High School, Garrett Rao. Coach, thanks for coming by and joining us on our program this evening.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, Coach, let's talk about the start of your season, what things have looked like for the Falcons so far this year.
Well, we're 2-5 at the moment. Some good, some bad, all of the above, kind of. But new change, obviously new scheme, all that kind of stuff with me coming in. And so I think that it's taken them a little bit of time to just kind of adjust to me and adjust to my style and adjust to my system. Started 0-4, went 2-1 last week. So I think some things are starting to click and they're kind of getting into a rhythm and figuring out some stuff. So look forward to the rest of the season.
A lot of fans recall you as a standout athlete at Abbotsford High School. Tell us your journey that brought you back to Abbotsford to coach the basketball team this year.
Yeah, so I graduated in 2016 from Abbotsford High School. I actually went down to Illinois to Knox College, played football down there for 4 years, and then got a job in Galesburg, Illinois. I was there for 2 years, coached the sophomore team there for 2 years, and then went to Rova Williamsfield in Illinois that was just kind of right down the road. Was a varsity assistant for a year, and now I am back home.
And what's that like for a young man to come back to his hometown and coach the basketball team?
Oh, it's been great. It's been an awesome experience so far. The support from everybody, the community, the administration, the other people around the school have been really, really good. And I'm really, really happy to be back, be back around the family and all that kind of stuff. So it's been good.
Well, good. Tell us about some of the young men on your ball club this year, what they've done for you this season.
Yep. So we got a couple of returning guys back, some seniors. Senior captain Blake Bargender is kind of our do it all kind of guy. Averaging about 6 points a game, shooting the ball well, doesn't shoot it a whole lot. Is the guy that kind of we task with guarding the other team's best wing player. So he's been really good for us. Evan Rice has started a lot of games. He's kind of our de facto big guy. Really super athletic, really guards really well. Trying to get him to come along a little bit offensively, be more aggressive, be more confident, and all that kind of stuff. But he's been really good for us. Also in the starting lineup, we've had Preston Bunkelman, who is a senior. Started some games as a sophomore and then struggled a little bit last year, but he's back. He was our big guy in game 1 against Prentice. He had 20 points, and he shoots the ball really well for us, plays guard. Is kind of our secondary ball handler, bringing the ball up the floor. And then Grayson Totsky is kind of our do-it-all kind of guy this year so far. Leading scorer at just under 10 a game, shoots the 3-ball well, rebounds really well for being a 6'2" or so guard. And he's our leading assist guy also. So he's kind of the guy that makes everything run for us, and he's been really good. And he just continuously gets better every game as he gets more comfortable in our system. And then the other starter that we've had so far is a sophomore named Irvin Aguilera Lazoya, a guy that kind of surprised us coming into the year. We didn't think that he was going to be a real big varsity contributor kind of guy. Played a little bit during the summer, but was kind of our 11th, 12th man off the bench throughout the summer. And came in and just showed a much improved offensive game, and was a lot more confident in some of his abilities, and that's been huge for him. He's another guy that really guards the ball well, and we kind of task him with guarding the other team's best perimeter player, and he kind of frustrates people a little bit. So those are starters. Off the bench, we have AJ Broadhagen coming back, who has started a lot of games last year as a sophomore. Another one of those 6'2" longer wing players for us. He really gets after the ball defensively, working on his jump shot a little bit, but he can really get downhill and get to the rim and finish at the rim really well. So he's been really nice to have. We've had Peyton Schreiber, another junior, about 6'3", probably 215, bigger body, as our backup big. His offensive game has really opened things up for us in our second unit. He was our leading scorer when we played Auburndale a couple weeks ago. And he just he's a big that can stretch the floor, which is great to have in today's game. Getting him to guard and rebound consistently is what we're working on, but he gives us something, a scoring punch off the bench that we kind of really need. And then we got Noah Schroffnagel is another one of our senior captains that comes off the bench, can really shoot it. Corin Decker's a young sophomore who's got a lot of potential for us, and he can kind of handle it a lot, and he shoots it pretty well, so that helps out. And then Carlos Lara is another senior that came out, big man, and he gives us kind of a physical presence, 6'4", about 300 pounds. So he rebounds the ball really well and does some things for us. And then one guy that we're pretty excited about getting back is JV Castillo. Partially tore his MCL during our playoff game against Cadott in football. And so he just got cleared to kind of start returning a little bit to some activities. So he's been back at practice off to the side doing some shooting and some other stuff. And so hopefully around New Year's time he'll be back, and I think he'll give us a big lift in terms of shot creation and some stuff like that, because he's just a really, really dynamic athlete, and I think that'll help us out a lot.
You know, when you talk about three-sport guys, JV Castillo would be probably about the best you can come up with.
Absolutely. He's special.
Coach, as a new varsity coach, what are some things you're trying to instill in the program this year?
For us, I think everything starts with our defensive pressure and our defensive intensity. The 2 games that we've won, we've been able to kind of pick up some pressure full court and turn some people over. And I think that helps us get into a rhythm offensively and kind of get to the rim and do some things, get some easy buckets out in transition. And then offensively, just trying to install our system and instill in them the idea of floor spacing and sharing the ball and playing selfless basketball with each other. It's kind of what we've been focused on so far.
All right. How about some comments and questions from Larry Hazer? Larry?
Gene, or Coach, how are the players accepting the new regime?
They've been really, really receptive. They've been really good. They work really hard. They really get after it on a day-to-day basis. So they've been really good at buying in and doing all of those things. Working on continuing to improve skill level-wise, I think, is our biggest struggle at the moment.
Any challenges you found as a new head coach with this group, or?
So far, so good. Knock on wood, right? You know, you never want to jinx that, but no, they've been really good. I think it helps that I have so many juniors and seniors in the group. Of our 13 varsity kids, we have 11 juniors and seniors.
Okay.
And I think that they've kind of been around the block. They've been successful in football. They've been successful in baseball. And so I think it's just kind of getting them all going in the same direction and kind of getting things started. And I think that this is going to start to pick up, and we're going to be a lot more successful here pretty shortly.
How about the conference season this year?
We played 1 conference game so far. Our first game was at Prentice. They took it to us a little bit. But I think Prentice and Rib Lake are probably the 2 teams to beat. They're sitting, 5-2, 4-2. Rib Lake's a senior heavy group. Really good, really talented. We have them on Friday, so I think that's going to be a really good measuring stick for us as to how far along we've come in the last month or so. Prentice playing them first. They're a lot younger. They got 9 freshmen and sophomore on their varsity roster. They got a sophomore who's really good, Evan Lord. He's averaging like 27 a game, I think, for them up there. So they can really score it. They can really do some things. And they kind of showed us everything that they could do there in our first game. And then we got to talk about Athens, obviously, having won the conference 3 years in a row now. They're off to a little bit of a slow start. I got to see them and Rib Lake play each other yesterday. But they're still super talented. They have a sophomore that's really, really talented too, with Riley Schultz-Becker. Can really fill it up. I think he leads their team in rebounds and assists and points. Just really skilled, really talented. And then I don't know much about Phillips and Chequamegon, but they've played some of the Merriwood South teams pretty close, and we all know how good the Merriwood South is. So
where do you see Abbotsford fitting into the conference picture?
I think if we can finish in the top half, I think we'll be really, really happy with ourselves. And I think that's kind of what we're shooting for.
What do you think you're going to have to do to the keys to being that successful now as the season progresses here?
Yeah, I think continuing our skill development stuff. getting better at ball handling, shooting, all of the essential skills that come with basketball, and then just continuing to get after people defensively. I think athletically we're very good, and I think that that's evident with our success in other sports. And so just continuing to kind of find ways to use our athletic ability and kind of get out and run and pressure people and do some of those things will help us out a lot.
All right.
Coach, we've had a lot of talk tonight about the prestige and the strength of the Marywood South, which nobody denies. But how about competing in the Marywood North every night? What's that been like for you as a player, now as a coach, facing some of those schools every night?
Yeah, it's good. There's a lot of good talent too in the Marywood North. A lot of teams that compete for regional titles, sectional titles every year, especially in Division 5 and in that northern part of the state up there. So I think it's a unique challenge. I think every team kind of brings a different dynamic to it. And so being able to be prepared night in and night out against the entire Marywood Conference is something that challenges us every night on a day-to-day basis and kind of really prepares us to compete in the playoffs when we get to that time.
And with Phillips especially, and Chequamegon, you're dealing with some schools that are a little bit on the bigger size. That's going to be a disadvantage for you guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, we got to continue to work. And I think that the travel with those schools being northern in Wisconsin is always, something that you're cognizant of. I mean, conference games that are, 2 hours north of you or an hour and a half north of you and all those kinds of things, being able to travel like that. But I think, again, with our pressure and our pace, I think we can minimize some of those size differential things that we might run into.
All right, well, Coach, good luck this season. Thanks for coming by.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Abbotsford High School basketball coach Garrett Rao joining us on our boys basketball preview program tonight.